Now be honest, did you click on this video thinking to yourself that, man, this guy's just gonna tell me the benefits of easy running are
building a better aerobic capacity, you don't get injured as much, and you get faster by going slower, and those are the 3 benefits.
If so, that's okay. That's typically what we hear, and all those things are absolutely true. But I think that the benefits of easy running are a bit more deep than that, to be honest. And today I'm going to share with you those 3 benefits and give you actionable tips at the end of this video how you can strengthen those benefits and make them more impactful to your running and, well, spoiler alert, your life as a whole. Let's get into it. And before we get too far into this, I know I'm going to be talking about easy running, but easy running could be whatever easy effort you're going through at this moment. For me, easy running is what I do for my aerobic building, but you might be at the stage of your journey where your easy runs are walk runs or walking, whatever the case may be. This stuff that we're going to talk about here today is applicable in those situations as well. Starting off with mental resilience. This is something that's not going to only benefit you with your running, but also in your personal and professional life as well. And easy runs, they're not the most glamorous thing in the world. Let's just call a spade a spade. They're pretty darn boring. They're these long, slow, steady state efforts that you often do alone that compound into greatness over time. But that does not make them easy to do, even if you know all the benefits, but these things are essential. And I know for myself, when I'm getting ready to go out and do one of these long, slow, steady state, easy run efforts, it's gonna be a constant battle with my own head. I often think to myself, oh, I've already done a bunch of miles this week. What's another slow, easy run gonna do? And unless I'm feeling any type of injury, only thing that's preventing me is my own mind. So the more times that we defeat these voices and just head out that door and do that easy effort is another deposit into the mental resilience bank, because we let our mind know that it's not in control. We have full control over it. And I know we all have that voice in our mind telling us what we can and can't do, but the more often that we go against that voice, the easier it becomes. And I'm going through this change right now of building up mental resilience and seeing how it's becoming more impactful in not only my running, but my personal and professional life as well. As I enter into my 6th week of building those habits back in, of running, lifting, eating well, all that different type of stuff, this is where it gets tough. The first few weeks are extremely easy. The voices are essentially helping me get out that door, but now is where the grind starts and where I need to push through, because I know once I push through this point, it's gonna get easier and I'll be able to defeat that voice with ease every time. But unfortunately, right now, it's a bit tough. For example, if I go for a run in the morning that I told myself I really didn't need to do, or I didn't want to do, or whatever the case may be, the rest of the day is easier. It's easier in my professional life, it's easier in my personal life. Everything just seems to be a bit easier when it comes to overcoming the mind games. Easy runs or easy efforts are the best way to build up this mental resilience, because you're not gonna go out there and injure yourself. It's not a very hard effort. You know deep down that you can go out there and run easy for half an hour, 20 minutes, walk for 20 minutes, walk for 10 minutes, whatever your situation is, you know you can do this. Your mind is just what's holding you back. But if you tell your mind over and over that, sorry, I'm doing this, that builds up your mental resilience. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is self-discipline. And yeah, sure, self-discipline can be built up by just going out and doing that habit every day of going out there and doing any type of effort. But I think easy runs are especially good for this because, like I mentioned, easy runs, they're not very fun. When we go out there, I know for myself personally, I constantly want to go faster and faster and faster. And essentially, the point of easy runs is to go easy. I think that makes sense, right? It's kind of in the name. But if we push ourselves and go harder and harder and our heart rate gets higher and higher, we're kind of defeating the purpose and the intent of that easy run. And the most successful training plan is a training plan that you stick to with intent. Sure, there's gonna be days when we can go out there and push ourselves hard, but easy runs are not that time. So we need to be disciplined enough to remain at those easy paces, even when we're feeling fantastic. Our bodies might feel great and we wanna push fast and all that stuff, which is great you're feeling that way, but easy runs are a time that we need to allow our bodies to build up that aerobic capacity and build up that muscle strength and all that great stuff that easy runs do. Because even if your heart rate's not beating that fast, you're getting extreme benefits for your cardiovascular system. So it's extremely important that we do these types of effort and remain disciplined at them. Now, for myself, another way that these easy runs can build up that discipline is, like I said, they're boring. And another thing that I often find myself doing is I can cut this run 5-10 minutes short. Like, what is that gonna really do? But it's gonna do quite a bit. That's quite a bit of time on feet. And even if it isn't in the grand scheme of things, it's telling yourself that you're allowed to quit. You're losing that discipline that can be easily built up and transferred not only to your running, but to your everyday life as well, to your diet, which is essentially important for any type of fitness regime, to your work, to your family, to whatever the case may be. If you tell yourself that you can quit at one thing, then it might translate to other things, and we don't want that. Unless, of course, you're feeling sick or some other case, you're getting injured. Of course, stop at that point, but more often than not, we're stopping because our mind tells us we can stop, and it's perfectly true. No one is gonna know if we stop, but we need that self-discipline because who are we letting down? We're not letting down our wife, our children, our mothers, whoever the case may be. We're letting down ourselves. And if we do that over and over, our goals are gonna get further and further, and we're gonna become unhappier and unhappier over time. So keep that self-discipline. Easy runs are the perfect place to practice this benefit. Now, this next one's getting more and more attention in today's age, but it's still something that a lot of people might not really jive with. And I get that, but I really just want you to have an open mind as I start to talk about this. Easy runs are the perfect time to practice mindfulness as well, because you're going at these easy efforts. And like I'm gonna reiterate again here, easy runs could mean an easy walk for you, whatever an easy effort is. And the key thing here for mindfulness is that you really do need it to be that easy effort. Yeah, sure, running hard or whatever, you're kind of in tune with your body, but it's not the best of times or scenarios or environments to be practicing this type of stuff. Easy runs, you're getting into a rhythm, you're seeing the sights around you, you're taking in your breath, you're just really present within the moment. This is something that I think is extremely beneficial, and a mindful runner or a mindful person, I think, can better deal with the stresses of today's modern age and everyday life. But I found that I don't always have the time to dedicate to mindfulness, but I do have the time to put into running. So I thought to myself, why not just combine the two? Sure, it's not the traditional sitting down in a corner with your eyes closed with a robe on, thinking about nothing or feeling the sensations. That's okay. Mindfulness can be practiced in many different avenues and many different methods. And easy runs, I feel, could be an extremely beneficial place for all of us to start easy runs, easy efforts, to start practicing this type of mindfulness stuff. Let's talk about some actions that you can take on your easy efforts to get the full benefit of these things that we just spoke about. For mental resilience, when I'm in that cycle of, I don't want to do this, I don't have to do this, I don't need to do this, when I'm getting that resistance, you know that feeling of resistance that you physically feel when you don't want to do something that you feel that you need to do, and there's a bunch of tension going back and forth. When I'm at the peak of that resistance, I go out there and do that effort. That is what I want you folks to try. When you're at the peak of that resistance, the peak of that cycle, telling yourself that you don't want to do this, get out the door and just do it. Try it for a minute, whatever the case may be, but just getting out there and starting is going to help you build up that mental resilience. And I can almost guarantee more often than not, you're going to go out there and start, and you're going to finish what you said you don't want to do. Now, in terms of self-discipline for me, like I mentioned previously, I often find myself saying, I don't need to finish that last few minutes, or I don't need to do that distance, or whatever the case may be. It happened to me today. I had a 70-minute long run planned, and I wanted to quit at 50 minutes. I thought to myself, there's no real benefit to this, blah, blah, blah. You know what I did instead? I pushed longer. I did an hour and 25 minutes, 85 minutes, so 15 minutes extra. And that's something I often find myself doing. Unless I'm feeling some sort of injury or illness or lightheaded, whatever the case may be, I will push through what I initially planned to let my mind know that I am in control. And if we treat the body rigorously, the mind will be obedient. Some philosopher said that, I don't remember who, but it sounds pretty cool to me and it makes a lot of sense. So here's what I want you folks to try. Unless you're feeling any type of injury or illness, whatever the case may be, push a little bit longer. Do your fully planned session, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever your situation is, and push like 30 seconds or a minute more to get that discipline. Build up that discipline each and every day, and I promise it's gonna pay dividends not only to your running, but to your everyday life as well. In terms of mindfulness, my mind often wanders. And when my mind wanders, I immediately want to put on music or some other distraction, and I just kind of allow that to get me back on track. but that doesn't really get me back on track. That's just a distraction, and those thoughts are still spinning somewhere in that mind. But thoughts are okay, we'll just observe them, and that's what mindfulness is for. Every easy run, I do 50% with headphones, 50% without headphones, focusing on mindfulness. But in these scenarios where my mind is really spinning and I find myself reaching to put on something to distract myself, I'll just force myself to be present within the moment. Really feel what's going on in my mind and observe my thoughts. Yeah, that sounds a little bit interesting, but I promise you that it works. So here's what I want you to do. Now, you don't need to do 50% of your run, 50% of whatever, focusing on mindfulness. Try 30 seconds, try a minute, whatever you feel comfortable with, just start implementing it on your easy runs. Turn the headphones off, turn whatever you have off, and just focus on your breathing. Focus on where you're making contact with the ground. Look around you, just be present within the moment, observe your thoughts. Don't assign any emotion to your thoughts. It's the most important thing here. Just let them happen, and it's gonna be hard. Like I say this like it's easy. I struggle with this every single time that I go start my mindfulness practice, but it's something that will get easier over time, but it takes practice. That's why they call it mindfulness practice. All right, folks, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. Does this make sense to you? Do you feel that these benefits are true, or am I just kind of, my thoughts are all over the place? What do you folks think? Let me know in the comments section down below. I really appreciate you. Happy running. Join our Discord community. It's in the link in the description down below, and I will see you on the next one.